Alright, welcome back to another Math Monday video. Today we're going to be going over the third form of linear functions, and that, as you can tell by the title, is the standard form. The format of the standard form is written like this. It's ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are integers, which essentially means that they're whole numbers and you can have negatives except for the a value, which I'll touch on in a second. So if they're integers, make sure they're not in fractions. They cannot be in fractions. And then, just like I just mentioned, the a component, the coefficient in front of your x value, has to be positive. The b and c values can be negative, but the a, to have correct standard form, has to be positive. Alright, let's look at an example of a linear function written in standard form. This is kind of what basically it is. You have your coefficients in front of your variables, and then it's equal to something, your ax plus by. The first number is positive, and all the rest are whole numbers or integers. Standard form equations have some positives, some negatives. The positives are finding the x and y intercepts, and it's also, once you find the x and y intercepts, it's easier to graph. Some of the negatives are finding the slope of the line. Just from the standard form, it's really hard to see that. In order to get the standard, or in order to find the slope, you're going to have to manipulate this equation and probably use it to a slope-intercept form to see the slope a little better. But just like I said, it's good for finding x and y intercepts, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. And all you have to do that is to plug in 0 for x or y. Once you get those, it's easier to graph. So the next one, we're going to go over an example using this problem, and I'm going to show you how to find the x and y intercepts and how to quickly graph it. So here we have our original problem. In order to find our y-intercept, the y-intercept is when x is 0. You plug in a 0 for x. This is what I did here. I substituted a 0 in for x, and then you just go through and solve the equation for y. After you plugged in the 0, obviously 2 times 0 is 0, so that goes away. Then you just have 4y equals 20. To get y by itself, to divide both sides by 4, and then you're left with y equals 5. So what does that mean? That means when x is 0, y is 5. So if I had a dot, I'd put it right here where my red cursor is. And you're going to do the same thing with your x component. To find the x-intercept, we plug a 0 in for y. 4 times 0 is 0, so that goes away. You get 2x equals 20. To get x by itself, divide both sides by 2. And you're left with x equals 10. So that means when x is 10, y is 0, so my other point would be right here. You'd graph it, and there's your line. You get your two intersection points, here and here, and then you just connect it, so that's a line. You can get the slope from this by counting rise over run, but that'd be much harder to figure out the slope right just from the standard equation. But it is really easy, relatively easy, to get your intercepts from both points, and once you get those points, you go ahead and graph it. Hopefully this quick lesson on standard form helps. In my next video, I will probably show how to move between forms. A lot of the times you're giving the standard form and they want to know the slope, so the best way to do that is to change that, manipulate this equation to a slope-intercept form or another form. And that'll probably be my next video. With that said, if you have any other questions or concerns, feel free to contact me. Have a great day.